Hi, Mystery Writers. Welcome to the Mystery Writers Studio. I'm Zara Altair, and today I wanted to talk once again about power words and using them in your narrative and your story fiction because they do bring your story to life. They just do. It is the words you choose really make a difference in how your reader responds to your writing. I just attended a workshop with Pro Writing Aid on emotional depth, and there was a lot of talk about using the right words, and it really makes a difference for you as a writer and your connection to your reader and your reader's connection to your story. Um, our medium is words. We're writers. So, just as a painter practices brushstrokes to refine an image, we use strong words to refine language. When you use specific words, you help your reader envision your story and become emotionally connected to your story. So, when you're in the flow of writing your first draft, it's not the best time to concentrate on your word usage. This is something that you're going to refine when you get to your editing stage. When you finish that first draft, you can check your manuscript for word usage, and almost every writing software has some kind of um, editing check to go and find different words. So, right off the bat, um, you can search for state of being verbs, which are some version of to be. So, is, am, are, was, were, be, being, been. And then also other words, the helping verbs like have and has and had. And also do and does and did. And conditional verbs should, would, shall, will, um, may, and might, and must, and also can and could. You can search for all of those words. Doesn't mean you're going to take out all of them, but you can just make a critical decision about whether you want to keep that or you want to replace it with stronger verbs. And you really aren't, nothing is cast in stone. So that means that you don't have to replace all of them, but you just want to check to make sure, because if you have a lot of those verbs in there, it's going to weaken the power of your narrative. Let's look at some examples where specific words, especially verbs, make a difference. Lucas was walking down the boardwalk. So we have a to be verb was, and we have a gerund walking. All right. But you can make it stronger just by Lucas raced down the boardwalk. All right. And another example is Lila was a lover of old master paintings. And stronger is Lila treasured old master paintings. So instead of that was verb, you are giving an emotional impact with treasure. All right. And then also there's verbs propped up by adverbs, and usually you can change those verbs propped by adverbs to a more power punch actual specific verb. And one of the ways you can check this in your manuscript is for to search for all the words ending in ly, and that will give you a sense of how many adverbs you have, because they often end in ly. All right. So George ran quickly over the forest floor. So instead of that adverb quickly, you can use something like a verb that shows how George ran. So George dashed over the forest floor, all right? Or Flo looked menacingly at Liz. Um, so just use a stronger verb. Flo glared at Liz. All right. Then another thing you want to check is those gerunds, those ing verb endings. Um, Gerunds soften a verb's impact. So you want to replace them whenever possible with an active verb. So here we go with Jared was walking on the Champs-Élysées. Um, so you can even use walked, but I would suggest a stronger verb. So Gerard strolled on the Champs-Élysées. You get that feeling of him strolling along. All right, all right. Oh, if you're writing something with action scene, Gerard race, Gerard ran. Um, anyway, get rid of those ing verbs endings, and you're going to have a lot more powerful narrative impact. So not all gerunds are bad, all right, but you want to minimize their use. I kind of use a rule of thumb is like one per page. I know I was in a writing group and there was a fellow who had maybe 4 or 5 gerunds on every page, and that writing could have been much stronger by replacing those gerunds with active verbs. The thing about using strong words is that they are specific and they create an image in your reader's mind. And so specific verbs like stroll or lumber or trot increase your reader's engagement, and they really give them a better sense of what your character is doing. And that image brings your reader into the story. When someone reads walk, they understand your character went on foot from one place to another. But a more specific verb tells how they went. Each specific verb, stroll, lumber, trot, creates a vivid image in your character's action. So just go through and replace this. This is a lot of work, but it makes a difference. It's going to make a difference in your reader's connection to your writing. All right, so you're guiding your reader into the story, and you can do the same thing with specific nouns. We just talked about verbs. Now let's just look at nouns for a minute. Because those specific nouns help your reader visualize your story. They can get lost in a sea of adjectives as you try to describe specifics. So it's better to use the best noun. Beginning writers often try to explain details rather than use specifics to get to the point, and you want to trust your readers. So I love this example from speech therapist David Kinane. Said, he inserted vigorously a strong wooden post with a point at one end into the pale corpse that is supposed to leave its grave at night to drink the blood of the living by biting their necks with long pointed canine teeth. Or he stabbed the vampire with a stake. See how that just gets the reader right there? That's the action. You don't need all those gerunds and adjectives and adverbs to get your point across, especially when it's an emotional crisis scene like this is it, and stab the vampire with a stake. All right. So use the power of specific words, just like that vampire stake. Specificity grabs your reader's attention and creates that emotional response. And the more specific your words, the stronger your reader's response. So let's look at a couple more examples, just so you get the feel of this. Drake headed toward the suspect's house. Drake headed toward the suspect's lair, hovel, cottage, rancho, apartment, country residence, suburban townhouse. You get a better sense of what kind of structure that is. So each noun creates a vivid picture for your reader, and the specific tells the reader about the suspect character as well. So go for those power words. This is this this is a brief introduction to this, and these examples are brief, but they give you an idea of how strong verbs and specific nouns build a vital emotional connection with your reader. And as you look for specific nouns and verbs, be careful. All right. You don't want to overdo it with elaborate or obscure words often found in a thesaurus. All right. Be specific but not obtuse. All right. Don't use obscure words. If your reader has to stop and wonder what that word means, you've lost them. So this isn't the point where you're going to show them how smart you are because you know this obscure word. That's not the point of your writing. Your writing is to get the reader involved and to get them to understand what is happening right now in this scene. One useful tool that I love is the Synonym Finder by Rodale. It's been around for years and years and years, and it's a lot of fun to plow through. It's a reference tool for specific words. So if you have a generic word, you can look it up and you're going to find some references there. And so make word choice a primary editing task. You're going to tell the same story, but you're going to tell it better. And then one more thing I wanted to say about this is you want to do your concept editing first. So if you're moving scenes around or eliminating them or doing any of those big structural changes in your novel editing, which you do first, um, you you wait to do this kind of word exercise for your editing because you're going to spin your wheels otherwise and spend time on passages that are eliminated or revamped in some way. So do all that editing first. This is kind of later step right before the punctuation, right, which is the last thing. So use your power words to really get your reader involved. Okay, that's all I wanted to say about that today, and I hope that helps. It's not something to get stuck on while you're writing that first draft. The first draft is to get the idea out and the story done. This is to refine the narrative text for your reader, but it does make a huge difference in their emotional connection and involvement and their caring about the story. All right, thank you so much. As always, if you have any questions, put them in the comments, and I'll see you next week in Mystery Writer's Studio.